First up, we head to Orlando, Florida. The defendant is 39-year-old Jeremy DeWitt. He's been charged with impersonating a police officer. DeWitt runs a company that provides private security escorts during funeral processions.
I'll get the light before the bridge, you get the light after the bridge.
It's a legitimate business that DeWitt is authorized to operate.
Get to me, get to me, get to me.
What he's not authorized to do is direct traffic.
Go past me, go past me. Repo, take this intersection and keep this under control.
Weave through traffic at illegal speeds.
I just did 110 down this road.
Or, most notably, pull over.
Hey, pull over,
and confront drivers while dressed somewhat like a real officer.
What are you doing? What the does it look like I'm doing, dumb? Get the over before you find out.
Stop pretending you're a police officer.
Listen, I know what I'm allowed to do and what I'm not allowed to do. What you need to do is figure it the out before you start talking.
With such blatant behavior, the local media gets wind of what DeWitt is up to. Before long, he appears on the radar of the real police. And in 2019, after police observed him breaking traffic laws, he's arrested while working a funeral.
Who is this guy? Oh, that's Jeremy right there?
When officers questioned DeWitt about the registration of his motorcycle, which comes up as stolen, he becomes livid.
Sergeant, my vehicle's not stolen, Sergeant. I can tell you right now, everything's being videotaped on my body cam, Sergeant. Okay, you're I have the registration for the vehicle, Sergeant.
Officers search DeWitt and find an arsenal of police gear, including handcuffs, mace, and a baton.
Because the Honda was stolen, and we got the tag back from the Orange County Sheriff's Office, and then we registered it to that motorcycle.
But as DeWitt loudly attempts to explain the situation,
In the car, dude.
officers have had enough.
You just chill. If it's an issue, we'll figure it out. But you screaming and yelling isn't going to change that. Well, just sit tight.
Okay.
DeWitt's charged with impersonating an officer and released on bond. But while out on bond, police get a warrant for DeWitt's own body camera and find a wealth of incriminating footage, including more pullovers.
Get the over!
And additional confrontations with drivers DeWitt considers interfering in his escorting a funeral procession.
Hi! How are you today?
I'm good, how are you?
You must have missed that it's 45 through there, and then you use the turning lane to cut through traffic.
Yeah.
I understand you're in a nice car and everything, but let's be a little more mature the way you drive. Let's drive the right way then.
Are you a cop?
Don't worry about what I am, because I'm a state agent, so
Yeah, well,
what you need to do is make sure you're doing the right thing, boy.
The driver pulls away. But it doesn't take too long for DeWitt to catch up.
Yeah.
That's real nice.
Yeah, I know.
Real professional.
The way you almost hit me, boy,
Yeah,
is the way it's professional, bitch ass.
You're not a cop.
You want to fight?
You're violating the rule, too.
How's that?
Don't even act like you're stopping me.
I didn't pull you over. Did I make a traffic on you, boy? Come on, let's go, bitch.
DeWitt's arrested again and brought before the judge with 2 more charges of impersonating an officer.
You were arrested pursuant to a probable cause warrant for falsely impersonating an officer.
Once again, is released on bond.
About the new cases.
Turns out DeWitt has quite a history of playing cop. He was convicted of the same charge back in 2001. But DeWitt can't seem to stay out of trouble. And after multiple arrests for impersonating an officer, he's back in court again.
Your name, sir?
I'm sorry, Jeremy Charles DeWitt, Your Honor.
This time he's not here for being a fake police officer, but for failing to register a vehicle as a very real sex offender. In 2005, DeWitt was convicted of lewd or lascivious battery involving a victim between 12 and 15 years old.
Mr. DeWitt, you're here today because you're arrested on an arrest warrant for a sex offender violation, failing to register as required. You're also out on bond on 5 charges of falsely impersonating an officer.
The state is requesting his bonds be revoked on his prior cases, giving the new law violation, continued pattern of criminal activity, and he also poses a flight risk.
The prosecution again asks that his bond be revoked. But once again, DeWitt catches a break.
No, I'm going to leave the bonds in place.
As for his remaining impersonation charges, until his trial begins, DeWitt remains free on bond. Next, we head over to the Miami-Dade Bond Court of Judge Mindy S. Glazer. Today, Judge Glazer is presiding over a hearing for 21-year-old Alon Glenn.
Sir, good morning. You have a warrant from Georgia. It says for fraud, a charge of fraud.
Glenn, who was in South Florida for a cruise, was picked up on an arrest warrant from his home state of Georgia. He now faces extradition.
There's no way I can get a bond, ma'am?
Unless the only thing you can do is have a lawyer contact the judge in Georgia to see if there's a way to schedule one. It's a fraud charge.
Okay, so will I be able to do that?
You can call a lawyer. Call whoever you want from the jail.
Having passed on the information Glenn needs to potentially get out on bond, Judge Glazer notices an interesting detail about his case.
He was picked up at the cruise. What were you on, the Breeze?
Yes.
Yeah, me too. Isn't that cool? Or you had a nice cruise? I'm glad to be back to work. I had to watch 4 kids.
You was on a cruise this weekend that just passed?
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't see me dancing? I was the one dancing.
You were dancing. I was sitting upstairs in the shade. It was a fun time, huh?
Yes, but this is crazy.
You were in a contest by the pool now, were you? Nah, I didn't see you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were.
I definitely was.
All right. I'm sorry you have to go through this, sir.
Judge Glazer seemingly appears to side with his request for bond, citing him as a non-flight risk.
I mean, if he wanted to flee, he could have fled in, what was it, St. Martin, St. Kitts?
Yeah, you feel me? I don't want to run away.
With their cruise ship flashback all but over, he has 2 options.
You can waive extradition, agree to be sent back to the state of Georgia within 15 days. If they don't come pick you up, you'll be released. You can also contest extradition and fight going back. If you contest extradition, you can be held in our jails for up to 90 days. Are you going to waive?
If I don't waive, I have to wait for the 15 days?
No, you have to wait 90 days.
Oh, yeah, I'm waiving. Well, I waive that.
Glenn waives extradition and is later picked up by authorities and extradited back to Georgia to face his fraud charge. Next, we go to a pretrial hearing in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Jeremy Hsu, age 39, is charged with first-degree home invasion, car theft, identity theft, and possession of a controlled substance. The defendant arrives in a wheelchair after suffering a number of strokes over the years. That's Hsu's attorney, Walter White.
Any other motions or preliminary matters?
I would just restate my previous request that I be allowed to withdraw from the case.
Hsu's attorney just asked to be removed from the case.
Mr. Hsu and I have basically no communication. He prepares his own motions. He has asked me to file them. Sometimes I have, sometimes I have not. He's had a series of strokes. I mean, he's in a wheelchair.
Even though Hsu's in a wheelchair, not even his own attorney is sure about the severity of his condition.
I don't know what his physical health is, but I know that he's maybe not as strong as he used to be. And so I would just ask Your Honor to consider allowing me to withdraw so that he can get an attorney that he can work with.
I previously ruled on your motion to withdraw, and nothing has changed in interim, so I'll stand by that ruling.
I'd like to represent myself then, Your Honor.
That's right. If Hsu can't have his way, then he'll just represent himself.
Well, I would strongly urge you not to do that. Mr. White's been a criminal defense attorney for as long as I can remember.
That's your opinion. I don't buy your opinion.
But that's fine. You don't have to buy my opinion. But he is a lawyer, and you're not.
I'm a better lawyer than you.
That's your opinion as well. If you want to proceed and represent yourself, we can do that. Jury trial will be the 21st of January at 8:30.
I need time to go through pretrial motions.
January 21 at 8:30. Mr.
I haven't
White.
had no time to go through pretrial motions. What the are you talking about, dude?
Sensing the escalating tension, 2 court officers step in behind Hsu in case things get physical.
Well, the case has been pending for quite a while. Mr. White has been representing you for quite a while. So
Mr. White hasn't filed nothing. He just asked to withdraw 2 different times. You keep denying it.
Well, that's the way it is, sir. So we'll see you on the 21st for jury trial.
It looks like Shu's a little stronger than his attorney realized. Watch again, as Shu easily steps out of the wheelchair to flip the table. The officers force Shu back into the chair, but he's not going quietly.
Lift your feet up.
Shu ultimately kept White as his attorney, and it's a good thing he did. White worked a deal where Shu pled no contest to most of his charges and got a reduced sentence of 2.5 years in a county jail. Next, we're in Mount Clemens, Michigan, for a plea hearing. 39-year-old Denise Robertson has been charged with 6 felony counts of uttering and publishing, which means she manufactured and cashed fraudulent checks. Robertson's a habitual offender with 4 previous felonies on her record and faces a max sentence of life in prison. But today she's taking a plea deal in exchange for a lesser maximum sentence.
My client is asking for a referral for a drug court.
The county drug court is a prison diversion program established to help nonviolent drug offenders.
Well, it seems as though her problem is she needs to take and learn how to write a check with a checking account that has her funds in it. How's drug court interplay with all this?
That's veteran judge Mary Chinowski. She's earned the nickname Scary Mary from defendants due to her tough approach from the bench.
The drugs were the root of her problems, Your Honor.
Why do you want to go to drug court? Other than trying to stay away from going to prison.
Because when I don't do drugs, I live okay.
So why do you do drugs?
I don't know.
Okay, and how long is this going on?
For the last 5 years.
So, did at any point in this 5 years, did you wake up and say, hey, I got a problem and
Yes,
I think I
last
better
year.
do something?
Last year, and I was walking down the street and I got hit by a car and put back on picking pills. And here I am today.
Now, all of a sudden, you're looking at going to prison and you want to go to drug court. Now, is this an excuse to stay out of prison?
Yes.
No. Well, somebody out there said yes. Somebody out there knows you better than me, because I've just met you. Who's that? Come on up here.
Her brother comes forward from the gallery to voice his own opinion.
What's going on?
I believe she needs to get the book thrown at her. Somehow she keeps escaping on this drug stuff all the time. That drugs are causing her to do this. She had an opportunity. She's given up 4 children. She's ruined their lives just because she wants to be a scumbag and just have a free ride in life.
Wake up, woman. They took away your kids. When are you going to wake up? Somebody else is raising your kids because you're doing nothing to help yourself. That's where I've got a problem, because this drug court was put in place to help people who want to help themselves. So do you think this drug court program is going to help her?
She's been through so many drug programs, it's pathetic. She's been in and out of rehab, left and right, and nothing ever helps.
After a short deliberation, Judge Chinowski makes her ruling.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to refer her to the drug court, not with the extensive record that she has, and certainly not with 8 new convictions on her record.
Denise Robertson was later sentenced to a minimum of 1 year and 11 months and a maximum of 14 years in prison for the 6 felony charges. Joining me now is Judge Mary Chinowski. Thanks for joining us, appreciate it. You were known as Scary Mary. Did you want defendants to be scared of you?
It is what it is. I am who I am. It is a style that I created as a judge. It was very effective when I run into people on the streets and they say, hey, thanks, you saved my life. I needed to hear what you had to say. You turned my life around.
What do you say to those who say that the tough love part of this can be too much?
Being too tough, I don't think anybody can ever be too tough. I think a lot of people are hungry for someone to finally look them in the face and say, hey, you know what? You better get it together. You're going to lose everything. I think they never had it in their life. Nobody ever told them that they need to clean up their act. Now all of a sudden, you're looking at going to prison and you want to go to drug court.
Now, we see that this defendant wanted to get into drug court. Tell us about what the purpose of drug court is.
What it is, it's a specialized court where we give defendants more attention. So we are focusing on them, we're getting them jobs, we're helping them with the rehabilitation. I need to decide, is this a candidate for drug court who is going to be able to deal with the rigors of drug court? We're on you every single day. We're testing you 2-3 times a week. You know, are you working? We're constantly on you.
Have you ever had a situation like this where a family member comes up and actually asks for a stiffer sentence?
Oh, sure, Dan. All the time I would get that. I mean, it was a common thing. You're her brother. What's going on?
I believe she needs to get the book thrown at her. She has been going through this since she's been 20 years old, and it's just, this drug stuff is all just a big game.
I would have parents in the background asking me, please, get them in, keep them in. We are afraid to let them out in society because they're going to hurt someone else. That was a daily event for me. Parents, whether it be parents or siblings or significant others.
How significant was it in your decision that she had already lost custody of her 4 kids?
It was very important to me because it showed to me that she was a very selfish individual who cared more about her addiction than she did about her children. She didn't want us to help her be a good mother, which is extremely selfish in my opinion, and it had a very big impact on how she was sentenced.
Thanks for being a fan of Court Cam. Subscribe to A&E to never miss a new video and catch full episodes on aetv.com.